Hi, I'm Jill Darcey and welcome to this video where I talk about my Dealing with Double Standards program. Many parents have asked me over the years what to do when there's one set of rules in their house and contradictory ones in their ex's house. I know that over the years of my children going backwards and forwards between two homes, we've seen a huge number of differences between the two places, and sometimes they can get a little confused over them. Some of the differences don't seem to make any difference to them, and yet others they play to their advantage, even if it's really frustrating to me. So dealing with double standards is something very real for divorced parents who have an ex that is actively involved in your children's lives. If the ex is distant, often these sort of greatly diminish. However, there are some interesting twists and turns that come in for latter teen years. It can be very confusing for your children to know what's right and what's wrong when faced with this whole double standards. In this black and white world that most of us were raised in, where there was right and there was wrong, this just doesn't stack up for our kids any longer, and it's hard to know what to do with that. It's also, if you start contradicting, you start justifying, and then you're placing your children into this very ugly space where they're just not sure who to be listening to anymore, and often it can come down to who's got the better argument. Here's what happens if you actually don't start to learn how to deal with these double standards, the long-term consequences. Your children become very confused and don't know who to trust anymore. They start feeling quite insecure and lacking in personal confidence, and so they're more likely to be making some pretty poor decisions for themselves. They start turning to their peers for advice and they confide in their peers. And this can really be just an avoidance tactic so they don't have to go through the negativity of listening to parents contradict anymore. You'll also start seeing that you rob your children of their future hope, because hope is built on this feeling of security and confidence that grows. And perhaps worst of all, you become the nag, you become the bitter one, because all you're trying to do is actually raise your children right, and it reflects poorly on you in the end because you're nagging at them all the time. So if you work with the strategies that will be on this online program that's in front of you right now, you'll be able to remove this confusion from your children's lives. You'll be able to watch your children gain in personal confidence. You'll watch your children learn how they are making good decisions for themselves, and they'll start understanding the consequences of making good decisions or poor decisions. You will see your children hold on to good hope for their own future, and you'll enjoy parenting so much more because there's no more nagging, there's no complaining, there's not the correcting, and you don't have to start bribing them to get what you want from them. So it's really important that you start to learn how to actually build this healthy life between these two different sets of values that your children have. It's really important you teach them how to live with this and how to help build their own self-confidence. So as they start growing up, they'll make really good decisions for themselves. In this online program, you will learn how ignoring the problem is only going to make it worse and not go away. Why you shouldn't compromise to please, and yet, on the other hand, how you don't battle it out just to have your way either. We'll look at how to remove the confusion for your children completely, and what you need to do to teach your children how to make these decisions for themselves. So within this program, you'll learn everything that you need to know about adding balance to your child's world, and so they are really capable of making good decisions for themselves as they're growing up. Otherwise they feel like they can end up walking on a tightrope. This program is where you and your children fully live within personal integrity, developing confidence and character along the way. Thank you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.